And we are live.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everybody, and welcome to Odessa. The scene opens in a dark, dingy dungeon in the depths of his mistress's abode, where an armor-clad guard throws a tattered piece of paper through the bars of his cage. Thorvald moves towards the piece of paper and picks it up, opening it to read its contents, recognizing immediately that the hand of Madeline. He pushes himself from the corner of the cage and knocks to be let out, and the guard pulls the cage door back, and after washing and dressing himself properly, he leaves the bowels of the large manor and makes his way to the district where Madeline resides. For a large man, he seems to have a habit of being able to move quite quietly, and he causes no stir as a hooded figure, makes his way through to the door of Madeline's residence and gently raps on it 3 times.
Well, the door is answered. It's this large-ish woman, some sort of servant or handmaiden or whatever, that answers the door, looks at Derval, and just nods and just says, welcome. Please come in. And she sees you in, closes the door, and yeah, she follows you into Madeline's study. She seems to be, well, she's not reading today. She seems to be quite busy looking at, well, different clothing or articles of clothing. Um, she looks them over, and she will just look up and just, Torvald, it has been it's good of you to come. It has been quite too long since we met last.
As he steps in the room and sees her, he takes down the hood from his head. You can see that he's let his hair grow somewhat, seeming that the shave style that it was in before was a ritual or a habit rather than how it normally looks. And when he sees her, he takes a knee and looks up at her with sort of a gauge of emotion in his look, seemingly appreciating the sight of her.
Madeline comes over, smiles to him, just very gently just puts both hands on the side of his face, and just says, "Hmm, please, you do not need to kneel to me. You can stand. You are worth much more than kneeling."
Well, every man kneels in the face of worship, he says with a smile as he slowly stands to his feet.
Well, when you put it like that, I almost would want you to do it again. Hmm. But, well, regardless, it is quite alright. But I could get used to it.
I can spend the rest of my evening with you on my knees if it is your wish, he says with a slight, playful smile.
Hmm. Well, we will see.
You don't normally send me notes. I take it there's something you wish to talk to me about.
Well, there is. I suppose well, we could skip right to it, but I need your opinion on something. And I also need to ask you something, but let us enjoy the moment. And she will just, Guthrath, you can leave. Please, return to your studies. And the handmaiden just nods and just seems to just doesn't say anything. She just leaves and closes the door behind her. And Madeline goes over. I have commissioned several new dresses for a bit more formal affairs, but I cannot trust. You know how ghouls are. They will say that I look ravishing in all of these. But I respect your opinion. I think you will tell me which one suits me the most.
He nods.
And Madeline just nods with a smile on her face, and she begins to undress, and she just puts on the first one and just kind of poses for him, and just says, "Oh, what do you think?"
He walks around her a couple of times, seeming to admire the tailoring of the dress. Hmm. It is good. A little conservative, perhaps. But sometimes conservative is appropriate.
Quite so. If I were to visit a foreign court outside of Timoran or Edessa, I would use this, I think. Well, hopefully, it will go better than the last time I visited, and the last time before that. Oh dear.
He raises his eyebrows. There's obviously a story there.
Ah, well, you have heard of. And she looks to him. You have heard of your clanmates being held responsible and meeting final death, no?
I find anything I need to know, I have to find out myself. As a servant such as I am, isn't often freely given information.
I see. There are visitors in one of the neighboring Princetons. Visitors from far to the south. I do not know if they are Canaanites, but they are definitely close to us. But let us call them Canaanites, but of the Ebony Kingdom. They came for restitution for Nagasi's crimes against them, and the Nosferatu prince delivered the final death in this response. Other clanmates of yours are making certain notes of this.
I wondered why my sire had kept me caged in recent times. She's obviously staying at a low profile for one reason or another.
I do not think that all of your clanmates will keep a low profile, at least not indefinitely, on this matter, but these foreigners are not something I've really seen before. Nagasi called them clan. Apparently, there are more clans, if they are even clans, among them, but he called them Boyosam or Bossam or something to that effect. I honestly have not heard of it, but as you said, being in your position, a servant, I suppose it is not your first priority. It seems to be the wishes of your mistress.
He walks around so that he's facing her, and he says, "The power of my position is that I can often go unseen, where others make much notice."
I wonder. She came in possession of you, and I am assuming that that is a permanent arrangement between the two of you.
It was not so much an arrangement, but an ascribed status. I was born into her service, and I was expected to die in it. My coming to be in this second life was an unfortunate accident.
Or very, very fortunate from my perspective.
He smiles.
I was wondering, and I have been wondering, whether or not there could be an arrangement. While I do not appreciate too much the bartering and selling of those who should be free to improve themselves, to better themselves, and those who should learn from this and be freed through their actions, through their own strength. What would you say if I were to suggest that I would take over? If that is, of course, even a possibility.
Why would you wish to do such a thing?
I respect strength, and I see when someone is deserving, and I also see when someone do not appreciate at all what they actually have, or when they squander potential, strength, and it is a shame to let such a thing to waste. I think that you could be much better served in other places, in other functions. Besides, you are a recognized member of our city.
He looks like he isn't quite sure what to say. To that, I would certainly be pleased to serve you.
I am quite sure that the pleasure would encompass us both. Of course, I do not know if your mistress, these nights, being what they are with all the troubles, would agree to such an arrangement, but I will, with your blessing, of course, inquire and begin to hear if this is a possibility. If it is,
I
I
would
hope
bid you
that
careful. She is powerful of temper.
duly noted. I will be gentle in my, what shall we say, inquiries.
It would certainly save me the duality of serving her by oath and serving you by heart.
Oh, it's not like I wouldn't, if I could not, settle for one, but I must say I respect a person like you a little too much. I see you wasted, and I see you being in service to someone who does not deserve you.
He smiles. There seems to be something going on inwardly. There's sort of a flicker of thoughts in between the look in his eyes, but he doesn't say anything.
Now, other than that, I do believe that there is a second dress, and Madeline gets out of the dress and puts on the new one. It's a bit more loose, or a little bit more less conservative, shall we say. And she just poses again and just, so, what do you think of this?
I like this one.
Well, your favorite so far?
So far.
And you can, like Toro can probably gauge that Madeline does seem to really enjoy this. But I will just give it to you. No need to roll. It's not necessarily like there is certainly a part of it that is the female like showing off, dressing up, and appreciate being appreciated. But it's also there's something else there. It seems you can tell because when she puts on the clothes, she's showing off like everything, but it's less in like a seductive way, but more in a, like that you get everything, and there's a hint of something a bit different there that you're not quite sure what is, but there is like she seems to be very adamant that you really get a good look, and it's not necessarily in the sense of seduction.
He's certainly getting a good look in both senses. You can tell that. He does this sort of animalistic circling each time. But he's aware of her. He's aware of her. He knows her just well enough to know her body language, I'd say. So you can tell there's something more to what she's doing, which is appealing to him seductively, but there's an extra layer to it. It's piqued his curiosity.
So, as she says, gets the final one on, and she just looks. It's a bit more flashy. It's probably the most expensive one. Like there's a bit more like it's clear that this is probably the one that's also been done the most with.
You should wear this one when you meet my sire, if she allows it. She respects power. She's also intimidated by it. This dress screams power.
And a bit of other things, I hope. But I concur. I really like this one as well. But I do believe it has certain uses, and well, other things it would be less good for. If I were to visit the commoners, it would probably not be the best.
Every man has his mask and his costume. I have several, I think. Each serves a different purpose. Of course, your servants will tell you that you look ravishing and glamorous and beautiful in all of them, which is true. But each dress enables a different facet of your personality to become dominant in that moment. And from what I have observed over my time on this earth, a woman is more capable than a man in many ways of turning the tide of her nature to the situation.
I do appreciate your flattery and the truths you speak. They show wisdom, and they show wisdom through strength. I not, I do not doubt. I really hope that your sire, well, pardon, uh, mistress will listen to sense.
She will be intimidated by you. You are more beautiful than she is. It is not flattery for me to say. It is a simple fact of stature. You also have held higher position than she has held, and a position that she has sought to gain since I can remember. She is often chained by the fact of her bloodline. Many in greater power do not wish to see a gangrel rule. We're still considered more beasts than men, and perhaps that is true.
That is true. A common misunderstanding, I would call it, of our very nature. Your clan and Clan Nosferatu, sometimes other clans are completely disregarded. It is a giant mistake. With your clan, Clan Nosferatu, Clan Malkavia, always blinding to oneself to see them as unworthy or only belonging at the bottom. No. Giant mistake for anyone to make that judgment. I must say, I was planning on asking you one other thing. Not
He,
only this arrangement. Sorry, go ahead.
he just sort of inclines his head.
Mhm. I know of people here and there that would be able to teach me certain things. One thing would be able to be taught from many people, but I wish to taste your strength. I wish to learn from you, if you would allow it.
He takes a step towards her.
There is a discipline that is innate to your blood. Fortitude. It is quite the blessing of our kind. I have not been able to manifest it myself, not naturally, but it is a blessing that is a mark of especially those who would count themselves among my kind, of my path, and I wish to learn this. And if you would permit me, I would ask it be you that I would learn this power from. Someone who knows it quite well, I assume.
He reaches down and removes the top layer of what is essentially a shambles of cloth and leather that makes up the upper part of his tunic. And you can see, as Madeline's seen before, the various marks and scars across his body. Fortitude comes with a price. You must teach your body to withstand the damage. It comes natural to my blood, but to learn it, you must embrace pain.
She comes over and just places her hands on some of the scars, like slides fingers across them, and she just looks at you and just says, "Pain is something I have mastered very well." And this is but another way, another aspect of me and my, well, mastering of this aspect, this most important aspect of anyone's life or existence.
We'll need a space. We'll need privacy, and we'll need your servants to be removed, as I must do to you what was done to me, for you to learn this. And I understand that those with loyalties to you would not relish in the sight or sound of you being injured.
She's about to, just like you see her eyes light up, and she smiles very widely and very genuinely, and she's just, "You are almost too perfect." She smiles to you and just actually kisses you, and she just, at your earliest convenience, you can come to Timaran. There is a place that we can utilize.
After she kisses him, he sort of holds her in place for a moment. There's one thing I would ask of you in return. I want you to teach me to be a man of this world, an educated man like you are. He looks to the...
Well, I am not an educated man, but... And she giggles a little. Well, or rather, you will not become an educated woman, but I can only do so much.
I want to learn to be your kind of strong. I want you to teach me to embrace and master pain and master intelligence. I want to follow in your footsteps. Try and carve my own way through this life with your guidance.
I would be most delighted to. But one step at a time. Firstly, I will have to meet your mistress. Secondly, we will have to... This could be done, but... I fear tonight we will not be able to do any of this because you are correct. Some of my lessons are done away from my servants, but sometimes I teach them in return. So.
I'm sure I could teach you one or two things this evening. Small steps.
I am sure you can. That reminds me.
And then he just kind of realizes that his grip's quite tight, because it naturally is, and he very gently sort of loosens it because he realizes the expensive dress will not appreciate being gripped.
And Madeline just smiles, gets in her normal clothing, very dressed down, commoner's clothing, and she just, well, I am with your life, your existence. I do believe that You are much more proficient in fighting in many ways. Why don't you show me? And yeah, she will just she'll just look at you and just it's clear that's not something she's used to, and she's a little bit unsure about how exactly to stand, but she seems to be suggesting that you not necessarily fight, but do some training, and she just as she just looks at you, she just says, "If you are willing, I would urge you not to hold back."
I dare say your study is not the best place for such endeavours. We wouldn't want to tumble wrongly upon the books.
Oh, you are right. Please, please come with me. And she will lead you into a room that is like there is some stuff here. It's it's a storeroom of some kind. There are some boxes, well, fairly shoddy boxes, but boxes nonetheless, and like some chairs stapled on top of each other, and a table at the corner. But there is a bit more space.
He he sort of he stands there and he looks at the stance she's standing in. What would you do if I was your enemy and you needed to attack me?
Hmm. Let's say that there were many mortals around. I would not be able to use any of our gifts. I suppose, firstly, I would. And she is. We don't need to roll, do we?
No, we can just describe it, and if Chris says this sucks, then screw you, Chris, because we're just doing scene.
Yeah.
We're not actually trying to hurt each other at this point, so shut up, Chris.
Yeah,
Carry on.
like she will try. She will just. She holds up her arms to try to cover her face, but she doesn't really do it, and she's still a bit open. And she will just punch out, and she will actually try to hit it. Um, but let's just say that Torvald will probably either grab her hand or step aside. I'm guessing.
He no, he take. I mean, he'll just sort of. I very much doubt that she's got so much strength that she's going to knock him onto the floor, unless she's got like super potence, in which case I'm going to die. But
uh,
she,
like
she doesn't have potence
she
because
does have a bit of potence. She actually has. She has got. She's got 3 dots of potence.
yeah,
So
that's going to hurt. He's not actually. He will stand there at first because he's not expecting her to have potence. Because for no reason whatsoever would he think that she would have potence. Because he knows that the Sombra have this shadow power, which scares the living daylights out of him. So he's glad she hasn't used that. But for no discernible reason would he believe that she would have potence. So when she actually hits him and it sort of sends him back a little bit, he is surprised.
not too bad, I hope.
He sort of puts his hand on his stomach and then smiles. You have the strength, you just need the precision. Like this. And he will go and actually he will hit her. He doesn't have potence, but but he's got strength for her. He'll just go and knock her onto the ground.
Yeah, and Madeline will just like she's not like she is somewhat she goes on the floor. Let's just say that, and she just lies there and just she immediately just looks up and smiles at him and just gets to her feet and clutches over a little bit. And she's just yes, yes, that is it. And yeah, she that does not seem to dissuade her. Quite the opposite, actually. She seems to really appreciate that for some weird reason.
Well, he's been with her enough to know that she's not shy of those sorts of things. Otherwise, he wouldn't have hit her.
Yeah, the storeroom will turn into a fighting pit of a different kind for some time, as the two will trade blows, and a fight will indeed occur somewhat. And yeah, after a while, even though they don't really work up a sweat because they can't.
They can't sweat. I don't know. Can vampires sweat? Apparently not.
I actually don't know. But anyways, after they're done, and Madeline she just said, well, I have sadly, very sadly, many other things to see to. The city is in uproar, rats everywhere, the plague. I'm afraid I must cut this fight short, sadly. But I would appreciate you come to Timoran. There is a place where we can conduct this teaching. It has been quite some time since I've been put in the situation of the student, and I am looking very much forward to it.
I might be making my own investigations tonight. The smell of rats has been brought to my attention.
They are everywhere. Mostly, as far as I know, in Riverside, but I do not know exactly whether it is. I have heard some rumors that it is spreading, and they are pretty much everywhere, but oh well.
He will take her hand and kiss it. You have your duties, and I have mine. I will return to you.
I will look forward to it. And yeah, she will, after just dusting off her dress or her clothing, she will lead you into the, well, lead you to the door, and she will just nod and, you know, bid you farewell and lead you out.
Thorvald redons his hood, and with a sort of bow of his head, he'll start walking into the street and seemingly disappear into the shadows.
And with that, the scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good night.